I'm sorry if this has been a long time coming. Some people have been contacting me asking me for my input, and I haven't had a chance yet. You might have noticed the news coming out of the country, out of Ireland first of all, and there have been some issues arising that haven't affected me or my family personally, but that were a little bit close to home and that had us preoccupied for a while. I'm not going to talk about them. In any case, here I am now, better late than never. And in case you're wondering, this is about the whole row that has arisen around what the UN has been doing. They have removed their opposition against, specifically anyway, the imposition of the death penalty based on a person's sexual identity. The gay, lesbian, bisexuals, transsexuals, if people can be condemned to death for being what they are, then the UN is no longer, specifically at least, opposing the imposition of the death penalty for that. Now, I am absolutely disgusted by that, as any decent human being should be, and I trust you are as well. So you will have noticed all the initiatives that have sprung up around this issue, and I'm going to try and remember as many as I can that I've noticed, and I'm going to mention them down in the BJ bar, and I'm not going to start any new ones, just look at them and join in if you can. But I do want to make a couple of remarks, and please do not take them as in any way taking away from my disgust with what the UN has done. Because there cannot be any doubt about it, this is sheer cowardice on behalf of the United Nations, and it is only right and proper that we stand up and let our voices be heard and express our disgust with this. But on a slightly positive note, insofar as that's even possible in here, in this situation, the actual basic principle that the UN are supporting hasn't changed. So they still do not support the imposition of the death penalty on the basis of any personal attributes. The only thing that has happened in regard to that specific item is that the specific mentioning of one particular type of personal attribute has been removed. Having said that, of course, anybody with half a brain will know that that only means that the issue has become a lot more like a grey area, and of course those who are intent on oppressing those who are different within the society will latch on to that and will use that in order to justify their barbaric penal systems. And that is intolerable, and that is why I am so implacably opposed to what the UN have been doing here. And that is why I want you to look at these initiatives down below and join those that you can. But one thing I was not so happy about was the way that this was presented by some as the opposition of the free-thinking community, the liberal community, against effectively religion, pointing out that these things are, and of course they are, religiously motivated, and making it part of the anti-theistic, anti-religious agenda that some of us are working on this site. And I think that is a mistake, because when it comes to an issue like this, it is not a division between religiosity and non-religiosity, free thinking and superstition, for example, that we should be looking at here. What we should be looking at is a division between basic human decency, the understanding that how another person leads their life is none of your business, and bigotry. Bigoted agendas. And that is what we should be fighting against. And as a result, we should be looking for allies regardless of what community they are coming from. It was depressing to see somebody like Bossman103 having to make a video calling out Christians, Muslims and Hindus, anybody other than atheists, in order to garner their support for this. Why is that the case? Because so many who have expressed their opposition to this abominable decision that was made by the United States are expressing it as part of their greater identity as a non-believer, as a skeptic, as an atheist, as a heathen, or whatever they want to call themselves. And as such, they are creating an unnecessary division between religion and non-religion on an issue that has really got nothing to do with religion when it comes down to the nitty-gritty. Even though, of course, the people who proposed this amendment in the United Nations had religious motivations, were motivated by religious fundamentalist ideas, what ultimately ended up happening was an affront to human decency. And we should look for decent human beings regardless of their background in order to support us in our fight against this travesty. So stop making a point out of what your background is, why you are doing this, other than basically pointing out that what has happened here is a tragedy, and anybody who is a decent human being should be opposed to it. And that's something that needed saying, I believe.